I want to begin by inviting you to reflect calmly and honestly, because what we're about to talk about touches something very deep in all of us. Throughout life, whenever we enter a meaningful romantic relationship, we don't do it halfway. We make an emotional investment. We put in our time, our energy, our attention, our affection, and our commitment, always believing that what we are building will be reciprocal, fulfilling, and lasting over the long term. That is the hope almost everyone carries when they commit to someone they love. But let's be realistic. As time passes, difficulties appear, conflicts arise, disagreements surface. This is normal, yes, but we must be very careful not to hide behind the idea that all relationships have problems as an excuse to tolerate everything. Not all problems are the same. There's a huge difference between minor disagreements and deeply damaging situations. It is not the same to argue about something trivial, like which movie to watch, as it is to feel betrayed, wounded, resentful, or emotionally broken because of infidelity. Some issues can be worked through with effort and communication, while others are far more complex and painful. So today, the real question is this: how can you tell when a relationship is simply going through a temporary crisis versus when it has truly reached its final phase? How do you recognize when things are still salvageable and when they are not? This distinction matters enormously because if a crisis is temporary, there may still be room to act, to repair, to rebuild. But when it is not, continuing only wastes time, energy, and emotional strength. That's why I want to share some clear signs with you, so you can reflect honestly and evaluate your own situation. And as I always say, if you have a pen and paper nearby, use them. Writing things down often helps ideas settle more deeply and allows you to reflect later with greater clarity. The first sign, and for me, one of the clearest indicators that nothing more can be done, is the arrival of indifference. This is the moment when you no longer even feel anger. When you reach that point where, as we say here in Mexico, I don't care anymore. And what does that truly mean? It means that whatever your partner does no longer affects you emotionally. Their actions, their absences, their behavior simply don't move you. I'm reminded of a patient whose husband loved partying. He would come home late, turn off his phone, arrive after drinking, sometimes with stains on his clothes, smelling of perfume that clearly wasn't his wife's. For a long time, she reacted the way many people would. She got angry, she complained, she cried, she begged, she argued, she tried everything to win him back. She even underwent cosmetic surgery, hoping that looking more attractive would make him notice her again. And none of it worked. Absolutely nothing changed. One day, she told me something that stayed with me. She said, "You know, Lucy, I used to spend entire nights awake, imagining terrible things, unable to sleep, because I was worried about where my partner might be." Then she said that one morning, she woke up and realized she had slept peacefully all night. And her first thought was, "How strange. I slept the whole night. Where is he?" I won't mention names, of course, because confidentiality matters. And then she said something very revealing. "I don't care anymore. I'm no longer interested. Whether he's with another woman or not, I give him away. Actually, it would be better if he wasn't in my way at all." That is an extreme level of indifference. But what I want to focus on here are the earlier signs. The moment you begin to realize that you are no longer important to your partner. When they prefer the company of others over yours. When they forget dates that matter deeply to you. When they stop showing consideration, stop paying attention, stop caring about your worries or your struggles. Use your judgment here. This is not about panicking because your partner doesn't bring flowers every week or forgets a minor anniversary. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about a persistent, ongoing indifference, the kind that makes you question whether your partner still loves you. And we already know something very important. If you genuinely doubt that someone loves you, then they probably don't. When doubt appears, the answer is usually already there. This kind of indifference is felt deeply, and I want to emphasize something important. Don't go pointing it out or complaining about it. Don't start saying things like, "You don't speak kindly to me anymore," or "We haven't been intimate in a long time," or "My feelings don't matter to you." Doing this only makes you appear desperate, needy, as if you are begging for attention. Don't do that to yourself. When indifference, either yours or your partner's, lasts for a long time, it is a strong sign that the relationship has truly entered its final stage. Now, don't confuse indifference with comfort. Comfort is not a bad thing. Comfort is routine, familiarity, emotional safety. It's unrealistic to expect constant intensity forever in a long-term relationship. Comfort is when you trust your partner, when you know you're loved, even on days when you're sick, exhausted, or not at your best. It's knowing that you don't need to impress anymore, that you can be yourself. It's like a pair of well-worn, comfortable shoes, or your favorite homemade meal. Not fancy, but familiar and satisfying. This is healthy. Indifference is the opposite of that. The second sign is constant irritability, on one side or both. This isn't about being angry over something serious. It's when everything about your partner starts to annoy you. The way they laugh, the tone of their voice, their smell, their habits, their manners. One patient once told me, "My husband always tells the same jokes, and I can't stand it. Every gathering, the same jokes, over and over." At this point, it's no longer about specific harmful behaviors that could be changed. It becomes about the person as a whole, how they dress, how they talk, the choices they make. Everything irritates you. Even the smallest details feel unbearable. Closely connected to this is the third sign, boredom. Your partner simply bores you. You have nothing to talk about anymore. You don't feel like going out together, whether it's to the movies, dinner, a party, or a birthday gathering. When you're out, you look for other people to talk to because you don't know what to say to your partner anymore. You realize you no longer share anything meaningful. And if someone asks how you feel, you don't say you're suffering. You say, "They bore me. They don't add anything to my life anymore, and I don't add anything to theirs." So, when you put these together, indifference, irritability, and boredom, they form a very clear picture. There are even more serious signs. When a relationship turns hostile, when partners become enemies, when there is disrespect, insults, humiliation, devaluation, even physical aggression. At that point, no matter how much someone clings on out of fear or dependency, the relationship itself is no longer alive. A couple becomes the opposite of what a couple should be. Instead of sharing a life project, enjoying each other, and caring for one another, they are locked in conflict. Even if you live together or are still legally married, the relationship is already over. Another extremely important sign is the disappearance of sexual desire. You may still feel affection. You may still tolerate closeness, hugs, sharing a bed, or being treated kindly. But the desire for intimacy is gone. It doesn't inspire you. It doesn't excite you. It doesn't make you feel good anymore. Perhaps one partner still wants it, but the other participates only out of obligation, avoiding intimacy whenever possible. At that point, you are no longer partners. You are just companions sharing a space. And again, This is not about comparing the present to the passion of the beginning. It's normal for intensity to soften over time. Desire may fluctuate. Sparks can return during vacations or moments of novelty. That is healthy. What I'm referring to here is total absence, nothing at all. That is when the relationship has reached its end. At this stage, what exists between you is no longer a romantic bond. What you have looks more like coexistence. You are essentially two people sharing the same space, the same home, even the same bedroom. But emotionally, the role of partner has disappeared. You no longer perceive that person as your lover or your significant other. And I want to stress this once again because it's very important. This is not about comparing your current lack of sexual desire with the passion that existed at the very beginning of the relationship. That comparison would be unfair and unrealistic. It is completely natural, logical, and expected that after spending a considerable amount of time together as a couple, sexual encounters become calmer, less frequent, and less intense. Over time, desire tends to stabilize. Occasionally, that spark may return, perhaps during a vacation, a change of environment, or when one of the two introduces a new idea or fantasy. That fluctuation is normal and does not signal a serious problem. A relationship does not need to maintain the same intensity it had in its earliest stages in order to be healthy. What I am referring to here is something very different. I am talking about the complete disappearance of desire. Nothing at all. No interest, no motivation, no longing, zero. When intimacy feels empty, forced, or completely absent, that is when the issue becomes serious. Moving on to another very clear sign. When you begin to speak negatively about your partner on a constant basis. When your conversations about them are filled with criticism. When you find yourself saying things like, "He's lazy," or "She's disgusting," over and over again. When, in front of other people, you no longer speak about your partner with pride or appreciation, but instead with annoyance or contempt. What's interesting is that these criticisms don't usually convince others that your partner is terrible. Instead, the people listening often end up wondering why you are still with that person at all. They may think, if you talk about your partner this way, why do you stay? That's why it's important to pay close attention to how frequently this constant criticism appears in your daily life. It says more about the state of the relationship than you might realize. Another key aspect to observe is how decisions are made. In a healthy relationship, decisions are discussed. Neither person dominates nor imposes. Both voices matter, and agreements are reached together. There is mutual consideration. But when a relationship is nearing its end, when it's no longer just a temporary crisis, each person begins to live independently within the relationship. Decisions are made individually without consultation. The other person is no longer taken into account. And then comes what may be the most telling sign of all. You stop imagining a future with that person. You no longer picture yourself growing old together. You don't see shared plans, goals, or dreams ahead. The idea of a long-term future together simply fades away. If you recognize yourself in all or most of the points I've just described, and you sense that your relationship is truly reaching its end, then it's essential to pause and evaluate carefully what you want to do next. One option is to let the relationship slowly deteriorate on its own, waiting for it to collapse naturally until one of you finally says, "We're done. We can't go on like this." The other option is when one person wants to end the relationship, but the other refuses to let go. that situation becomes deeply painful, emotionally draining, and often humiliating. When one wants to leave and the other clings desperately, it creates a dynamic that is both heartbreaking and profoundly sad. Once again, if you have the possibility, I strongly encourage you to seek professional guidance. A trained professional can help you determine whether what you're experiencing is a temporary emotional reaction, a misunderstanding, a moment of frustration, or something that can still be addressed and worked through. And this guidance should never come from a place of judgment. Personally, when two people come to me, I do not take sides. I don't act as a judge. The goal is always to analyze the situation in a balanced, fair, objective, and impartial way. However, if through reflection and support, you come to understand that continuing the relationship no longer makes sense, then preparation becomes very important. Ending something significant requires emotional readiness. And that brings us back to a crucial question. How do you develop that clarity? How do you know for sure? I hope that the points I've shared offer you a solid starting point for reflection. If you wish to deepen this process, there are many other resources that explore specific relationship challenges in more detail. These can help you gain further perspective and carry out your own initial self-evaluation. And believe me, you are capable of doing this. If you take the time to sit quietly with a pen and paper, think honestly, review each of these points, and reflect without denial, you will begin to understand exactly where you stand. And if after that reflection you feel you need one final layer of clarity, individualized guidance can help you reach that point. As always, everything I share comes from both my heart and my mind. I believe deeply in using both. I often repeat a phrase that means a lot to me. We need an intelligent heart and a loving intelligence. If you listen only to your heart, it may be too soft, too forgiving, too gentle. If you listen only to your mind, it may be too rigid, too cold, too rational. But when you learn to listen to both together, you create balance. And that balance leads to a calmer life, a clearer path, and most importantly, inner peace. Before you go, take a moment. Thank yourself for being here, for listening, for showing up today. You don't have to have everything figured out. Just keep taking small steps. I'll see you in the next story.